All right. This is looking at the role of social media and communication and talking about how it transmits social norms. And social media, I mean, if you look at these logos, I think it's Facebook and Twitter has really driven the social media craze, but I could talk about YouTube as social media, Tumblr, LinkedIn, Google Plus, my assistant just said. So, um, but these and maybe I'm a little biased because these are the ones I participate in. And I think Twitter. I had a job interview recently, and I had suggested that Twitter was probably the single most influential tool that has influenced my teaching career, as I'm able to tweet out assignments and such to the traditional classroom. So UberFacts reported earlier this year that there are more Facebook users than books in the entire world. Not sure if that's possible, but the realm of Facebook, and there's over a billion users. There's got to be more than a billion books, right? Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if UberFacts is very legit or not, but anyways, billions. I know it's over 1 billion for sure. Uh, so social communication has evolved from essentially postal stamps to email, and now to uh, social media like Facebook and Twitter. And many suggest that email is going to be a thing of the past shortly. I'm not so sure about that. I still think you'll need email for a number of things, but I guess same could be said 25 years ago that they said that postal delivery will always be necessary. But email is probably my favorite method of communication, to be honest, because I just use it for so many different things. And I don't have the social skills to talk on the phone or to interact in person, so I'd rather just email you. Um, Now, some people take the number of friends and the number of followers you have, so the number of friends you have on Facebook, the number of followers you have on Twitter as a badge of honor. And you got to think about it, like when you post a status on Facebook and you get so many likes, it makes you feel good. Or if you get retweeted or mentioned in a tweet or retweeted or favorited so many times, it makes you feel good. It's a self-esteem boost, if you will. Now, if you look at Facebook friends, how many friends on your list or would you actually call friends? Or how many are just acquaintances? And as you go off to university next year, are you going to go through like a Facebook kind of weeding out process and delete a lot of people? See, we didn't have Facebook when I went off to school, so I wonder what the social norm there is. And when you're walking in your halls of your home school, do you have friends on Facebook, but you don't even talk to them face to face in the classroom, or someone who you've never talked to gives a friend request? How often does that happen? Uh, I would suggest it happens quite often. Now, I also wonder uh, that Facebook and Twitter have become very corporate. That a lot you're getting these promoted messages or certain deals are put on Facebook and stuff. So sometimes I get a little annoyed that I'm just looking for social interaction. I'm not necessarily looking for like this corporate shopping mall. So that's been a little bit frustrating. I also wonder too, do businesses actually need a website, or could they do everything through Facebook and Twitter? I'm not sure. Now, Facebook is an easy way to share photos and to have casual conversations, um, but posting lots of pictures of you being social, maybe at parties or stuff, can have negative consequences for employment. We are warned as teachers every year about the content that we post online, but I don't know if teenagers and young adults really understand the consequences or the potential negative consequences that these pictures can have. Employers do look, and I've given some references, and for people in jobs, and they've wanted for me to comment on, they've seen certain amount of pictures on their Facebook, could you comment to that? And that's awkward, but I guess our identities is online forever, and it's 24/7. So now let's just take a look at the transmission of social norms. So technology gives an opportunity for you to take on a new identity and be who you want to be. So it's on Facebook and on Twitter, whatever I tweet or whatever I post on Facebook, that's helping me brand myself as the identity that I want to have. Okay, so even though I might like a catchy poppy song by like One Direction, that's not the image I really want to portray. I want to portray myself as like the cool, young kind of teacher who likes like indie music and alternative. Okay, I'm kind of being over the top here, but when you post on Facebook, it's often of extremes, right? Like, oh, look at this picture, I'm so happy, or oh, I'm having a bad day. Most of the time it's making yourself look better than you really are. And if you remember from our Unit 1 test, talking about extreme use of Facebook can lead to depression, is that when you log on and you see your friends' lives and they seem to be so good and so exciting and adventurous, and you're like, should I make a post about completing homework? So I can see how it can be a negative trend. Now, Durkheim, if you remember one of the fathers of sociology, Emile Durkheim, said increased transmission of social norms improves society. It gives you a definition of what normal is, of what happy is, and it decreases the risk of anomie. Anomie is spelled A-N-O-M-I-E. And anomie, how he described it, was a lack of definition or a lack of regulation. So some people say now, because we lack the face-to-face social transmission, that anomie might be increased. We don't know what it's like to be happy. We don't know what it's like to be normal. Others say now through social media we're seeing like an online presence of what it's like to be normal, what it's like to be happy. I'm not so sure. Now, can social communities serve the same function in socialization? The internet is becoming the most used socialization agent. So we used to learn our social cues and our social norms from our parents and maybe from schools, but now we learn a lot of our social cues, or a lot of our knowledge comes from internet and internet-based communication. So what's the long-term impact of that? Now, have some people been saved from loneliness and gain a sense of community through social interactions or through blog sites or gaming sites? Oh, I think for sure it has served a function, a positive function. But has it isolated some people? Yeah, I think so. I get really anxious to make a phone call these days because I just don't practice it enough. I remember my parents used to force me to use the phone and make phone calls, and now I just feel awkward. Again, I would rather write an email where I can type up my response and have my thinking and communication laid out, and I can proofread it and such. Now, with social media, we're also losing behavioral cues for feedback. So you don't get that instant feedback of a smile, a laugh, or even like you say something awkward, you don't get that awkward kind of reaction or the crickets sounding. And if I had a soundboard, crickets might be sounding right now. But you just don't get that face-to-face feedback anymore. And that's also the ability to, I lost my train of thought there. And like I said in the introduction to this unit, we now need emoticons or short forms to convey meaning. And some linguists would say that that's destroying our language. Now, it has made geography smaller, and we can now transmit culture more easily. And the internet has made our world a smaller place. We're able to watch YouTube videos or listen to podcasts or communicate via Skype or FaceTime with anyone with internet access across the world. So that's just a little introduction to social media. I believe we'll pick up a little more as we go. And now you're going to look at the Small World Experiment by Stanley Milgram, which is a famous sociological study talking about our connectiveness with each other. Stay classy, HSB.